Thank you, Deborah, for reminding me to record. So we missed the bracha. I'm not going to say it again, but we're on chapter 13, beginning on page 263. Some of us may be familiar with this, the story of Samson. This chapter is Haftarah for the portion Naso. The portion Naso is the longest portion in the entire Torah. In the book of Numbers, it's the second portion in the book of Numbers. Almost always read on the Shabbat after Shavuot. One of the many things that the portion talks about is the Nazirite vow, and this story is chosen as the Haftarah because we'll see about the birth of Samson and the promise that his mother makes in order for her to be blessed with a child. So this is another also in the series of barren women stories and how God answers their prayer. Okay, so like I said, we'll read the first 7 verses. Vayosifu b'nei Yisrael la'asot hara be'enei Adonai vayitneim Adonai biyad plishtim arba'im shana. And the people of Israel continued or started up again to do bad in the eyes of God, to sin in the eyes of God. And God gave them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. Okay, so we were Amorites before, we're Midianites, we're Philistines now. So, Vayahi, Ish Echad. So the Haftarah, the little asterisk there next to the number 2, refers right under that line there. It says Haftarat Naso. So this is what I said. So the Haftarah for the portion Naso begins here. Vayahi.
Shona,
Yes, Bess.
what the first word, first line?
Vayosifu.
What does that mean?
The added on, or here it could mean started up again. Why?
Because I didn't know what,
Okay.
English was for it, right?
Yeah. So it says, the English here, again did. But again, so lehosif is to add on to, additionally, or here in this context, it means again. Vayehi ish echad mitzar'a mimishpachat hadani ushemo Manoach ve'ishto akara velo yalada. So there was a man from the town of Tzara, from a Danite family, or maybe the tribe of Dan. It's unclear. It should have said if it's from the tribe, Mishevet Hadani, from the tribe of Dan, but it's from the Dan family, whatever that means. We'll see if there's Alter doesn't even say anything about that. So we'll see. Yeah, okay. And his name was Manoach, and his wife, who's not named, was barren. She did not give birth. Vayera malach Adonai el ha'isha, vayomer eleha, hine na at akara velo yaladet, v'harit v'yaladet bein. So an angel of God appeared to the woman, or to the wife, either way, and said to her, you are now barren, you haven't given birth, but you will conceive and you will give birth to a son. The Hebrew, the grammar here is just, so in the present tense, you are now barren and you haven't given birth, but you have conceived. You can translate this as you have conceived and you gave birth to a son. But the biblical Hebrew grammar makes it future tense. And you just have to know from context that here it's supposed to mean you will conceive and you will give birth to a son. Verse 4, Va'ata hishamrina, va'al tishti yayin v'shechar, va'al tochli kol tameh. And now, be careful, or follow this commandment, or observe this. But the na is, in modern Hebrew, means please, but it's, so hishamri na, it doesn't mean please guard, it's more a command. You shall guard, or you shall observe. Observe what? Don't drink wine and hard liquor, and don't eat treif. That's how I would translate it. Don't eat anything impure. Okay? So it's interesting that the angel had to tell her to keep kosher, because we would imagine that all Israelites are keeping kosher. I mean, the Torah was given.
Except it says they've fallen out of favor with the Lord.
Exactly.
So
exactly. It just so don't drink wine and hard liquor, and don't eat treif. 5. Ki hinach hara ve'yoladet ben, u'mora lo ya'aleh al rosho, ki nazir Elohim yihiyeh hana'ar min habaten, vehu yachel lahoshia et Yisrael miyad plishtim. So why should she not drink wine and alcohol, and why should she avoid treif? Because you will conceive, or you have conceived, and you will give birth to a son, and a blade or a razor should not be applied to his head. Like, don't use a razor on his head, because he will be a Nazarite to God. That is, the boy will be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he will begin to save or redeem Israel from the hand of the Philistines. So not only is this, this is a barren woman being answered by God, but so I would say not even being answered. We have other people, other women approaching God to pray about being infertile and how they want to have a child. Here, she doesn't pray. She doesn't approach. We're just told she's barren, and then the angel appears. So is it assumed that she has expressed sorrow, that she has cried out to God? I don't know. But we just know that the text does not tell us that she prayed for any kind of intervention. Somehow an angel appears to her. Yeah, Barry.
the story of the woman who was praying fervently and was lambasted for being drunk or
That's
whatever.
the Haftarah on Rosh Hashanah. That's
was
Hannah.
Hannah. What book was that in?
Samuel. It's the chapter 1 or 2.
So that hasn't come yet. Okay, so
right. That's right.
Okay.
That's another barren story. So we have Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel. Right? And we have who else have we had? No, I don't think we've had anybody else since the Torah. Until this was nobody in the book of Joshua.
What about Naomi's daughters-in-law?
That's not, so in the order of the Bible as we have it.
Okay, all right.
In the Christian Bible, the book of Ruth either comes right before Judges or right after Judges. But so we have, Ruth isn't really barren. No, that Naomi's not barren, and Ruth isn't barren. But there are other barren women, but here, just even Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel have different ways in which they are responding to their infertility, and different ways in which, so angels appear to Sarah, 3 angels appear to Sarah to tell her that in a year's time she's going to give birth. Again, so she hasn't prayed for that. It's just that the angels, three angels appear. So, so since those three angels, Rebecca prays, and Rachel also prays, but this is the first time since Sarah that an angel appears. Okay,
Another quick question. Just because I'm trying to remember it. David's fight with Goliath. He was also a Philistine.
Goliath was a Philistine. Yes, he was.
So the struggles with the Philistines have in Gaza, right?
Yes.
That's where
Yes.
that's been an ongoing. I mean, a very
Well, so it's unclear how ongoing it is. Like I said, this might be the first time. I don't remember from the first 12 chapters. We've had encounters with Philistines before. I think the book of Joshua talks about it. It's possible the book of Judges have talked about it already. But this might be like it'll be ongoing from here through the books of Samuel. That the Philistines are a constant thorn in the Israelite side.
So the story of Samson and Delilah and cutting the hair, I mean, that's a very well-known story.
It's coming in the next chapter.
Right. But it's interesting that, I mean, of course, I knew that he was a Nazirite. I mean, I knew that that was the implication of not cutting his hair.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that line about he will be the ultimate redeemer. And of course, in the story, through a very torturous way, he ultimately does.
Yes, that's right.
That. So
that's right.
Just interesting to see the way it's laid out in advance.
Right. So yeah, if we were looking at a literary analysis, yeah, let's see what the foreshadowing has to do with it. So, great literature, everything is set. It kind of is set in like the first chapter of what the rest of the story, how the rest of the story is going to unfold. So yes, so this Nazirite that he's and also the fact that he succumbs to Delilah's advances and agrees to have his hair cut. Well, all right, we just said right here, God makes this unknown woman, unnamed woman, make a promise. And he breaks the promise. Okay, so 6, Vatavo ha'isha, vatomer le'isha. So just a grammatical note there, that the last isha of the line has a dot in the hay. So that dot in the hay refers to it's her husband. So as opposed to isha, so there's also a yud there in her husband, the last isha of the line. The first isha does not have a yud, and it does not have a dot in the hay. So it sounds the same. If we were pronouncing Hebrew very, very carefully, I would say vatavo ha'isha, vatomer le'isha, and I'd have to like an extra kind of cough after le'isha, like emphasizing the part of it. So there are some Torah readers who actually do that. Every time there's a dot in a hay at the end of a word. I don't do that. I wasn't taught to do that when I was learning Hebrew growing up, but technically speaking, that's how you can make the sound so that the people hearing it can distinguish between Isha, meaning woman, and Isha, meaning her husband. So the man came.
And Jonah?
Yes, go ahead.
Just say one more grammatical note, kind of like, so back in just verse 3 at the end, when you were talking about when the angel says, you will become pregnant and you will give birth, but so those two, Baharit and Vayalat, it has the vav, right? So isn't that the grammar, like in biblical Hebrew,
right.
if you have a vav for the past and future tense?
Maybe.
Okay.
Usually it's a va. So vav with a straight line under it. What is the biblical, and then it comes to what we're used to as the future tense in modern Hebrew. So if it's like vayomer,
Yes, and
means, and he
Vatavo.
said, so that's a past tense. So, right,
Okay.
so it's a vav with the patach under it,
Mm,
and then the
mm-hmm.
future yomer, so, or
Okay,
vayomar.
right.
Whatever. Yeah, so we're getting into the weeds, and it doesn't matter, but okay.
Okay.
So, verse 6, Vatavo ha'isha, vatomer le'isha, lemor, Isha Elohim ba'elai, umar ehu kemar'e malach Elohim, norama od, velo she'iltihu emizehu, ve'et shemo lo higid li. So this is the woman's impression of what she just saw. So the woman came and said to her husband, saying, a man of God came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of an angel of God. Interesting. In verse 3, it's Malach Adonai. She's referring to it as Malach Elohim. Is there a significance to that? God is God, but it's a different name. Doesn't matter. I don't know. And so his appearance was like the appearance of an angel of God. Very awesome. Or was it say very terrible? Terrible in the Old English sense of awesome. Okay? So very awesome. And I did not ask him where he came from, and his name he didn't tell me. Or he didn't tell me his name. Okay? So she was just awestruck, and then says, in describing it, it was a man of God appearing like an angel of God. Interesting. What's the difference between a man of God and an angel of God? And how would they look different? And how would she know what a man of God looks like? We haven't come across a man of God yet. Is Joshua a man of God? I'm not sure. Was he referred to that as a man of God? He was referred to as Eved Elohim, the servant of God. But is he a man of God? So it's just interesting to me. I don't know if the commentary is going to talk about it. It's just what the Hebrew is presenting here. Just the text is describing one thing, and she's describing a little bit more than what was originally described.
At a time when the land was probably filled with soothsayers and people foretelling the future, and
Yeah,
so somehow this one has a special connection, a
maybe,
special
maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Like, what's her level of interaction in her town? Well, first of all, why is she unnamed? She has an important role in the story. And usually women who have an important role are named. Why is she unnamed? Now, the Midrash might name her, and I'm not familiar with the Midrash. I'm sure the Midrash names her, but I don't know. And I'm sure they give her, like they give Pharaoh's daughter a name, right? And in the Torah, Pharaoh's daughter doesn't have a name, the one who pulls Moses out of the basket. So anyway, it doesn't matter that the rabbis give her a name. The Bible doesn't. 7. Vayomer li, hinach hara violadet bein, ve'ata al tishti yain ve'shechar, ve'al tochli kol tum'ah, k'nezir Elohim yeh hana'ar, min habeten ad yom moto. And he said to me, this angel of God, this man of God, you have conceived and you will give birth to a son, and now don't drink wine and hard liquor, don't eat treif, because a Nazarite to God will be the boy from the womb. And then she adds, until his death. The angel didn't say that. He said that he would be a Nazarite from the womb. He didn't say until his death. So is it significant that she adds until his death? Does that have impact on Samson agreeing to Delilah to cut his hair. Like, in other words, the angel says from the womb he should be a Nazarite, but he doesn't say for how long. Is it implied that he'd be a Nazarite forever, or is it not implied? Maybe until his bar mitzvah. Don't know. It just says, he said, at least the Bible says that he said from his birth. She says until his death. So is that what the angel said? Is she adding it? Is she forcing then to Samson to be a Nazarite all that time because she said so, or because the angel said so? And what impact does her words have on his life? Okay.
Does
Yes.
this relate to the tradition of not cutting a boy's hair for the first 2 years?
First 3 years until
First
his
3 years,
third
okay.
birthday. No.
No.
No,
Okay.
that relates more to the idea, and it's a mystical thing, and I'm not up on it. It's really people in the very Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox world who do this. I'm not sure how many just modern Orthodox Jews do this for their sons, but certainly the more traditional Orthodox do this, and
Right.
certainly the ultra-Orthodox do it. It's related to
Right.
not eating the fruits of a tree for the first 3 years of its growth. But more than that, maybe Marlene, you know more about your grandsons and what they've.
No, I was going to say the same thing. It's the fruits the first 3 years, and I think it's probably done a little bit more than you'd think. I mean, even at Beth Shalom, when I was teaching there, there was somebody, they didn't cut his hair for 3 years, and then they made a party in the
Right,
classroom. It was really nice, so more people knew about it.
right, right. So, like I said, but it's a mystical thing, and if you're in Israel, they go to Shimon Bar Yochai's tomb on Mount Meron, like around Lag BaOmer, to do the mass cutting of the hair there. So again, because it's Shimon Bar Yochai traditionally wrote the Zohar, the main Jewish text of Jewish mysticism. So again, so it's an element of Jewish tradition that I wasn't raised with and is not part of my Judaism, so I'm not fully up on it. You can Google Upsharon. That's the Yiddish word term for it. Just Google Upsharon, and then maybe there'll be a My Jewish Learning article about it. So I would trust what My Jewish Learning has to say about it.
Wendy Freed did it for her older.
Yeah, so I mean, there are people who get into it, and that's fine. Lenore and I weren't into it for Elon and Eitan, and just, yeah.
So
Okay,
clearly a custom or a tradition.
just a custom, it's not halacha.
not anything man.
No, and I don't know if there's a bracha to say when the first snip is done, but I think I've been to one, and they have different people participate in snipping. So, they don't get I don't think they have a barber come, but different people in the family can snip a different lock of hair, and maybe something is said. I'm sure some prayers or some, not an actual blessing, but more like a hopeful kind of, may you be fruitful, may you, have blessing in your life. Those kinds of prayers would be recited.
Isn't it done around Lag BaOmer? Around Lag
I
BaOmer?
said around Lag BaOmer in Israel, they would do it, but usually here it's around the child's third birthday. Yeah. Okay.
Right, they'll have snipping, and then afterwards they take them to a barber if they want to.
That's right, to make it look better. Yes, that's right. Okay. Let's look at the commentary in here, beginning on 263 for these first 7 sentences. 40 years, beginning before Samson's judgeship and continuing until the days of Eli the priest. So, so the question is the days of Eli the priest in the story of Hannah in the Haftarah for Rosh Hashanah. That's the 2nd chapter of the book of Samuel. So is it just now, there are 20 chapters in the book of 21 chapters in the book of Judges. So are they going to be under Philistine rule or subjected to Philistine rule now until we get to the book of Samuel? So we'll see. But according to the commentary, that's what it is. Tzorah, a border city between Dan and Judah, see on Joshua 15. Now Surah, about 17 miles west of Jerusalem. So the issue is, where is Dan? And there's conflicting ideas about the settlement of Dan or even Dan families. So some could have been around here between Jerusalem and the Mediterranean coast, and others could have been up north. So it just, that's a whole other discussion about what happened to the tribe of Dan and where did it end up. So here, the commentary is telling us, don't think of Dan way up north, think of Dan closer to like around Tel Aviv or the city of Modi'in today in Israel, between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Okay, on 264, family, that is the clan of Danites. Manoach, the name signifies rest or resting place. It's borne by no other biblical character. So just an interesting note, nobody else in the Bible has the name Manoach. We have the name Noach, right? Noah and the ark, which is same root, but Manoach is the only one. Barren, throughout Scripture, the child of a marriage long unfruitful, is in a peculiar sense the gift of God destined to accomplish his purpose. It is noteworthy that the angel appeared to the woman, an indication of her high place in the community. Well, and that's from Numbers Rabbah, only because this is the Haftarah for the portion Naso in the book of Numbers. So that's why this Midrash has that. It's found there in that source. Wine, strong drink. Rashi defines the terms as new and old wine, respectively. According to some authorities, shechar, which I translated as hard liquor, when combined with yayin, includes all varieties of intoxicating liquor made from fruits, honey, etc. According to halacha, however, a Nazirite was permitted to drink intoxicating liquors other than wine. Only products of the vine were interdicted for him. Okay, so if we were to be Nazirites today, we'd be allowed to have vodka, rum, whiskey, etc., but no kinds of wine, no kinds of grape wine. Unclean thing, namely those forbidden to a Nazirite. Shall conceive, literally art with child. Razor, the noun morah, is found again in 16:17 and 1 Samuel 1. Its etymology is obscure. Rashi derives it from a root yara, to cast away, an instrument which removes the hair. Nazirite, from the womb, he was to be a Nazirite throughout his life, as distinct from a man who submits himself to the restrictions under a vow for a stated period, right? If somebody voluntarily wants to be a Nazirite, you have to do so for at least 30 days. It can be much more than that, but it has to be at least 30 days. Begin to save. He will not effect a complete deliverance as other judges had done, but he'll only begin what later leaders will fulfill. By his blows against the Philistines, he weakened their power. All right, so in other words, his mission is that he's going to begin to save the people, not to save the people entirely. Countenance, better appearance. Terrible in the sense of awe-inspiring. 265, behold, you shall conceive. A rabbi pointed out that in reporting the angel's words, the woman omitted, thou art barren and hast not borne, because she did not want her husband to know that their childlessness was due to her. To the days of his death, she rightly inferred this from the angel's words in verse 5, though he may not have explicitly said so. Okay, so Barvanel pointed out what I pointed out. Okay, let's see what Alter has to say about this, page 174. His woman was barren. The Hebrew noun isha, like femme in French, can mean either woman or wife. This translation renders it as woman throughout the chapter because it's a thematic keyword that sets the stage for the story of Samson and his involvement with women. Indeed, the reason that she is not given a name, in contrast to her husband, may be to enable the narrator to repeat the word woman again and again in this episode. Okay, so that's his literary take on the anonymous woman. His woman was barren, she had borne no child. These words signal the inception of the Annunciation type scene. Of all the judges, only Samson is accorded this scene, which, as we shall see, has several features that distinguish it from the other Annunciations. Strong drink, the indication is verse 14, that specifically products of the vine are prohibited, is evidence that this liquor, sheikhar, derived from grapes, a form of grappa. So he's also saying that the hard liquor is grape related. Touch his head, literally go up on his head. Nazirite, the Nazirite, see number 6, is a person who takes on himself special vows of abstinence. The noun derives from a verbal stem that means to be separated or set apart. He shall begin to rescue Israel. The divine messenger chooses his words carefully. Any victory Samson achieves over the Philistines will be incomplete. A man of God, since he appears to her in human form, however fearsome, she has no reason to assume that he is a divine being, though he might seem to resemble one. Drink no wine or strong drink. Since the fetus feeds from the mother, the clear implication is that this prohibition, which begins in her pregnancy, will also be obligatory for the future Nazirite. Nazirites in general refrain from alcoholic beverages. It's noteworthy that she says nothing about the ban on cutting the hair, which is another general practice for Nazirites. Till his dying day, for the divine messengers will begin to rescue Israel, she substitutes this phrase, ominously introducing the idea of Samson's death into the story before he's even conceived. Yeah, so all these literary clues that are coming out here. Okay, let's see.
Wait, Jonah,
Okay.
can someone say, I want to be a Nazirite just for a finite time and not for
Yes,
their
you
life?
can say it. You can say it for, it has
30
to be for a
days.
minimum of 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have
Okay.
to be a man.
No, a woman, I'm almost sure a woman can be a Nazirite, almost sure. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's see if we can finish the chapter. Vaye'etar Manoach el Adonai vayomar, Bi Adonai Isha Elohim asher shalachta yavona od elenu, v'yorenu mana aser lana'ar hayulad. And Manoach prayed to God and said, let the man of God appear to me that you sent. He should come another time to us and teach us what we should do to this boy who will be born. Okay? 9. Vayishma ha'Elohim bekol Manoach, vayavo malach ha'Elohim od el ha'isha, v'hi yoshevet basadeh, u'Manoach isha ein imah. And God heard God listened to the voice of Manoach, or to the voice of Manoach, and the angel of God appeared again to the woman, and she was sitting in a field, and Manoach, her husband, is not with her. So he prays for the angel to appear again, And God answers by appearing to the woman, but not to him. So it's just interesting. It's kind of funny, I think. Vatemaher ha'isha, vataratz, vataged la'isha, vatomer elav, hine nira elai ha'ish, asher ba vayom elai. And the woman hurried and ran and told her husband and said to him, I just saw the man that came that day to me. So he just, that man that I saw before came again. Vayakom vayelech manorach acharei ishto, vayavo el ha'ish, vayomer lo ha'ata ha'ish, asher dibarta el ha'isha, vayomer ani. So he got up and went, Manoach got up and went after his wife and approached or came to the man and said to him, are you the man that spoke to the woman? Not to my wife. Are you the man who spoke to the woman? And he said, I am. Vayomer Manoach, ata yavo devarecha, ma yiyeh mishpat ha'na'ar u'ma'asehu. And Manoach said, now let your words come forth. What will the judgment be? Or what's the law going to be about the boy and his actions? Or it says here, what shall be the rule for the child and what shall be done with him? Okay, yeah, same idea. 13, Vayomer malach Adonai el Manoach, mikol asher amarti el ha'isha tishamer. The angel of God said to Manoach, from everything that I said to the woman, you should take heed.
You know, in 12, first of all, Manoach was lying down, it seems, while she was in the field working.
Not necessary, it could be sitting.
Okay, arose, okay. But in verse 12, it's passive. What should we do or what should I do? It's what's going to happen to the boy.
Oh, right.
Which
Yes,
is
but
interesting. He doesn't accept that he has to do anything.
Not necessarily. I'm not sure that could be understood there. He just wants to know, he wants clearly, either he wants to hear it himself from the angel, what his wife told him the angel had said before, or he just wants all the details, like how exactly are we supposed to fulfill this commandment?
Okay.
So I don't know.
It's interesting because I mean, he's effectively telling the story now a third time of what to do.
Yes.
And as a storyteller, you know, it almost sounds like the way it was told has some truth to it, because if you're just telling the story, you'd say, and the angel or the man of or the man of God comes and says this, but this is first he says this, and then the guy wants to hear it again and he misses it. I mean, it's a very convoluted way. Like,
yeah, it's a comment on the husband. Like, why is he named? Because he looks like a schlub, or not a schlub, but it's, you know, it's just like a nerdy kind of guy.
The passive one.
A very passive guy. Right. He's not, he doesn't have any kind of redeeming, valuable characteristics. He's a guy who doesn't name his wife, refers to her as the woman, and doesn't believe her, and wants God to appear. Maybe he's jealous. Why did the angel appear to her and not to me? And yeah, she told me what he said, but maybe she left out some details. I'd like to hear the details myself. So it's kind of, he's made out to seem like the traditional biblical sexist kind of guy that men are. So I think maybe it's for that reason that the story adds all these details. It could have just said, if the point of the story is to talk about the greatness of the woman, it would have just said this angel appears to this anonymous woman, and then she gives birth, or we don't need this extra stuff. And then the extra stuff is here, I think, to point out about how unusual this guy, her husband is. Okay, so 14. So the 13, the angel of God said to Manoach, everything I said to the woman, take heed. 14, Mikol asher yitzei migefen hayayin lo tochal, v'yayin v'shechar al tesht, v'kol tum'ah al tochal, kol asher tzivitiha tishmor. So, and then he reiterates, everything that is produced from the grapevine don't consume, and wine and liquor don't drink, and all impurity don't eat. Everything I have commanded her, you shall follow. 15. Vayomer Manoach el malach Adonai, na'atzrana otach, v'na'aseh lefanecha gedi izim. And Manoach says to the angel of God, hold on, or why don't you stay a little while? Please stay a while, or I implore you to stay. I pray that you stay. Otach, in the feminine form. God is often addressed in both the feminine and the masculine form. It's interesting, if he's called the man of God and an angel of God, that otach is being used and not otcha. Otcha would be the masculine. Otach is the feminine. So just interesting. Please stay, or please woman stay, if we translate it into English so we understand exactly what pronoun he's using. And and now he switches, and let's make before you. So lefanecha, before you, is the masculine. It could, with the same letters, it could be feminine, lefanayich. If he says otach, why doesn't it say lefanayich? So why the switch from the feminine you to the masculine before you? Okay, just pointing that out. And it's possible it was, when it was first written, it was written without vowels. And the Masoretes put the vowels in 1,200 years ago. Why did they mess it up here like this? So I don't know. Maybe the commentary will point that out. We want to offer you a gedi izim. So like a kid from the goats. Ready a kid for thee. 16. Vayomer malach Adonai el Manoach, im ta'atzreni lo ochal belachmecha, ve'im ta'aseh olah l'Adonai ta'alena, ki lo yada Manoach ki malach Adonai hu. And the angel of God said to Manoach, if you delay me, I will not eat your food, literally your bread, but your food. And if you make us an offering to God, make it. Because that is, make it to God, not to me. Because Manoach didn't know that it was an angel, that he was an angel of God. Right? So his wife runs and says, I see the same person that I saw before. And he is talking to him. So maybe he doesn't believe it's an angel of God, that his wife saw it, like it just looks like a guy. So he also doesn't then take his wife's word for it, that it is an angel of God. And so he's not talking to this angel as if it's an angel. He's talking to it as it's some guy who came to visit and was just offering him a meal. And the angel is saying, no, offer it to God.
Because an angel doesn't eat, right?
But Abraham and Sarah prepared food for those three angels.
But did they eat?
But did they eat? They agreed to stay, but I'm not sure it says that they ate. Okay.
I just want to point out that when he offered the kid to be made, he was offering his wife to make the food.
Well, Abraham did. He says here, we will offer you
Yeah.
It's so v'na'aseh, not, it doesn't say v'ta'aseh, so which would mean she will make. It says na'aseh, we will make the kid for you. Okay, 17. Vayomer Manoach el malach Adonai mi shemecha ki avo devarcha v'chi badnucha. Manoach says to the angel of God, who is your name? See, it says, it's translated, what is your name? No, that would be ma shemecha. It says mi shemecha. Who is your name? Meaning, who are you? That so that when your words come true, ki yavo devarecha, when your words come true, we can honor you. 18, vayomer lo malach Adonai, lama zeh tish'al li shmi, v'hu peli. So, the angel of God said to him, why are you asking my name? Now, either now, I can translate it as my name is Peli, or why are you asking me my name? It's a wonder. In other words, you can't know my name. It's too wondrous, it's too deep, it's too mystical for you to understand. Okay, so right, wherefore ask you after my name, seeing it is hidden? So Peli, so he's saying it's translated here as hidden, but there's an aleph there, and the Pele is like niflaot, which are wonders, and tiferet, also pei aleph. A different word. Never mind. Niflaot is from the same word pei lamed aleph, meaning wonders. So it's wondrous. It's too awesome for you to understand what my name is.
Right. My translation just says unknowable, but I think it's
Okay.
from wondrous also.
Yeah. 19. Vayikach Manoach et gedi ha'izim ve'et hamincha vayal al hatzur ladonai umafli la'asot ve'umanoach ve'ishto ro'im. So Manoach took the kid and the grain offering. He didn't say anything about grain offering before. The angel replied, an offering and bread. So maybe there was a suggestion that there would be a grain offering. And he put it, he offered it up on the rock to God, and it was done wondrously. So in other words, according to the translation, we have to understand that the angel did something miraculous, wondrous to that offering, and Manoach and his wife watched. 20, Vayehi ba'alot halahav me'al hamizbeach hashamayama vaya'al malach Adonai balahav hamizbeach umanoach ve'ishto ro'im vayiplu al pneihem artza. So when the flame rose from above the altar to the sky or to the heavens, the angel of God went up in that flame from the altar, and Manoach and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces on the ground. So in other words, they lay prostrate. Yes.
I think I've answered my own question. I think that the way this convoluted story is back and forth are the two different ways that Manoah and his wife accept this word of a blessing. So accept this miracle. I mean, he's questioning, he wants to know how, who are you, why, and she just accepts it and reports back.
Right.
And that's kind of an interesting
But,
dichotomy.
but the fact that it has to go back and forth like this leads to a sacrifice in a response to having witnessed this encounter with a heavenly being. So perhaps the Bible wants us to have that as part of the encounter, that when an average human being, like we don't hear about Manoach again, really. He doesn't become an important person in the story. Their son becomes the important person. So he's just an average guy with an unnamed woman, wife, and they respond in this formulaic way of bringing an offering. And maybe that's what the Bible is trying to teach us too, that when we have any kind of spiritual encounter in our life, we should follow it up with some kind of regular worship, right? The unusual appearance that we encounter, that we might experience, has to be followed up with a formulaic response.
So are we supposed to understand that they routinely made did devotionals on the altar, that they already had a prepared place?
Right. So yeah, that's a question too about the how long it takes, how many generations it took to centralize worship to one altar, so at this time, people having their own altars was okay. So, okay, 21.
So they were pretty devout.
I don't know if devout. It's just that this is just what people did.
Okay.
You know, people come to shul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Are they devout? Or are they doing what people do? I'm not judging. I'm just saying, right? 21. V'lo yasaf od malach Adonai leheraot el Manoach ve'el ishto, az yada Manoach ki malach Adonai hu. And the angel of God did not appear again to Manoach and his wife, and leherao. I said leheraot. Leherao. The hey is silent, but it still means to appear. So the angel of God did not appear again to Manoach and his wife, and then Manoach knew, or because of that, Manoach knew that it was an angel of God. We'll just finish the chapter and we'll look at the commentary next time. Vayomer Manoach el ishto, mot namut ki Elohim ra'inu. Manoach then said to his wife, we will surely die because we've seen God. And now his wife gets the last word. Vatomer lo ishto, lu chafetz lahamitenu, lo lakach miadenu ola umincha, v'lo heranu et kol ele, v'cha'et lo hishmianu kazot. And his wife says to him, so I'd like to insert my own way of understanding how she's talking to him. You fool. If God wanted to kill us, why would he have taken the offering and the grain offering from us? And why would he have shown us all these things? And we would never have heard these things. We wouldn't have been allowed to hear these things and to do these things if God wanted to kill us. You silly man. But Talet, right, and also she could have said, but he promised me I'm going to give birth. How could we die? 24. Vateled ha'isha bein, vatikrat shemo Shimshon, vayigdal ha'na'ar, vayevarchehu Adonai. And the woman gave birth to a son. She called his name. He didn't. The husband didn't call his name. She called his name Shimshon. Does it have to do with the word shemesh, meaning sun, like sun in the sky? I don't know. Does it say down here, Samson? Oh, the etymology of the name is doubtful. The most probable being a derivation from shemesh, sun, perhaps the sunny one. Okay, so she called his name Shimshon, and you know it's not really a common name today in Israel. There are no Shimshons walking around. It's interesting. Why is that? Like this superhuman man, we're going to read about his exploits in the next couple of chapters. Why isn't this a common name in Judaism? For boy, it isn't. Anyway,
We have a grandson whose Hebrew name is Shimshon.
Okay. I'm just saying it's not common.
Yeah.
So she called his name Shimshon, and the boy grew up, and God blessed him. 25. Vatachel ruach Adonai lefa'amo b'machane Dan bein Sarah uvein Eshtaol. And the Spirit of God appeared to him or began to move him in the camp of Dan between Sar'ah and Eshtaol. Okay. So we'll see what Alter has to say about this, and also the medieval commentaries on the page next time, because it's 10:28. So next Friday. Yes, next Friday we will meet, but then the following Friday is Rosh Hashanah, so no class that Friday. The Friday after that is the Friday of Kol Nidre. I could have class then, but then the following three Fridays, I will not be able to meet because it's Yontiv, Sukkot, and Simchat Torah, and then I'll be away for my son's wedding on November 1st. Okay, so that's the schedule, but I'll remind you all next week again, and with an email too. So have a good day, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Shalom. Thank you,
Shabbos.
Jonah.
Thank you, Jonah.